Hello everyone, welcome back to The Case Nate. Today I'm starting a podcast. Now, I've never done something like this before, so please bear with me. Anyways, today we're going to talk about a film adaptation of Fallout. Recently, Bethesda and Amazon Prime are coming together in creating a TV show that will center around the Fallout universe. However, before this, there was a movie adaptation of Fallout. Now, most video gamers will know what I am talking about and what Fallout is, but for those who do not, Fallout is a series of games dating back to the late 1990s to 2018. There are 8 games in total. At this moment in time, they are Fallout 1, Fallout 2, Fallout Tactics, Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4, and Fallout 76. While those are the ones that were released, there were many canceled Fallout games that we'll talk about next time. Fallout is a post-apocalyptic game set in America. The setting is a bit hard to figure out since the Fallout universe or games span over multiple titles. The timeline it is set in goes from the late 1940s to the 2910s. Fallout is a vast open-world RPG set in a 1950s culture. The main objectives of the games are to venture out into the wasteland of what was once America. The location it is set in takes place all over the country, such as California, Nevada, Kansas, Missouri, Washington, D.C., West Virginia, Maryland, and even Chicago, Illinois. Each game, except New Vegas, you are born in a vault that housed a few hundred to 1,000 people to survive the nuclear war, which is called the Great War that happened on October 23rd, 2077. There is so much we can discuss of what happens in the Fallout universe, but today we are focused on the film that we almost got, but now seems to be a reality again, but in a form of a TV show. With me right now is a document of the original film adaptation that was first introduced when the Fallout IP was originally owned by Interplay, the creators of Fallout. Now, as much I would love to talk about what we may be getting in the form of a Fallout TV show, there really isn't much but speculations. A lot of people are saying it could be a Fallout 3, where Liam Neeson will play the role of Dad like he did in Fallout 3. But I think the best way we can figure out what the TV show will be like is by taking a look at the document by Interplay. The document was written by a screenwriter going by the name of Brent V. Friedman, who knew nothing about Fallout. And honestly, when I heard about this, I was a bit worried. Though, after reading the document, it seemed that Fallout 1 was what the movie was going to be about. Sort of. Fallout 1, the game, is set in 2161 in Southern California. Your character, who's referred as the Vault Dweller, was to be sent out to find a water chip since your Vault's water chip broke. You, the Vault Dweller, leaves Vault 13 to venture out into the wasteland for the water chip, but discover there's a whole society living above ground. And throughout your travels, you can choose to help them and gain a reputation that later on can help you. After you find the water chip and take it back to the vault, you are then asked by the Overseer to take care of another problem. While you were out, you stumble upon a creature so massive and scary, which are known as super mutants. I can't remember how the Overseer learned of them. I think through your Pip-Boy data it collected. Anyways, you are then tasked in destroying their leader called the Master. Ultimately, you can choose to work with the Master or destroy him. In canon, you destroy him. Once you finish your tasks, you go back to the vault just to have the Overseer banish you to the waste because he was afraid of the vault residents following in your footsteps. Sometime later, the Vault Dweller finds a group of people who escaped from Vault 13, which then they found a village called Arroyo. Now, the reason I explained Fallout 1 is to help understand the narrative of the story of the movie, because in this document, a lot of things change. For example, the main character is called Hero, not Vault Dweller, and is set in LA 50 some years after the Great War, which apparently happened in 2003. It gets even more weirder than that. Mad Max plays a role in this movie somehow. The document is 15 pages long, so I'll sum up fairly quickly, but still keep the important parts. Now, before I begin, there will be spoilers, so you have been warned. Now, before we begin, I would like to explain how we are going to do this. So I'm going to read parts of the document, and then once I do that, I will kind of give you the gist of what's going on. I will be skimming through some of the parts too, but I will still be going over it, just not reading it. But like I said, just giving you the gist so you can understand what's going on in the story. But anyways, let's begin. Commuters waiting for metro. Looks like present day LA. All reading LA Times except for one, our hero. 20-something, handsome, restless. He confides in a friend that he had that dream again, of fishing in a creek and actually catching a fish. It's not healthy to dream of fish, warns friend. Tram arrives. Passenger aboard. Out window is blur of countryside. Hero calls out scenery highlights. Red caddy, growing yellow sleekers before they appear. Then suddenly they flicker and leave passengers in dark. A voice informs, due to technical difficulties, there will be no view this morning. Revealed that the tram has only moved 10 feet from one side of the cement wall to another. Scenery is just projected traveling mat, a splice film loop. They are living inside an underground vault housing a couple thousand people. It's a scaled down, low budget simulation of Los Angeles. Complete climate control and fake trees. The vibe is techno-retro, combining a 50s idyllic with the late 20th century technology. Everything is designed to help vault dwellers cope with the reality of living inside a claustrophobic underground world. But our hero is not coping well with this latest breakdown. In fact, he causes quite a stir, protesting aloud to the other commuters that he's tired of having his whole life manufactured. There must be something better. Now, in this paragraph, it's basically explaining that these vault dwellers are living underground, which is a representation of what was once Los Angeles, but using projected film. And he's just not really coping well with having to live underground when knowing that there could be something better. So in this section, it basically introduces or at least a new character, which is female officer. Female officer has some type of history connected with our hero. Apparently, she's been wanting to capture him for a very long time because of the incident that occurred earlier. Well, when she does, she is disappointed that she actually has to let him go due to the status that he holds and who he is as a person. As we continue, it says, hero, a prestige job, or so he's told, as an assistant vault supervisor working on supply inventory. He inspects the GEC, the Garden of Eden creation kit. As part of his daily ritual as resident dreamer, he watches an old promo tape which explains the GEC is a miraculous one-shot terraforming device to be used by the vault dwellers upon eventual emergence onto the surface. Our hero can't wait. Then he discovers some anomaly in the vault's water supply. Makes preservation to vault supervisor his father, who is pleased at how sharp our hero is, but also knows how bored he is. Father's already seen the videotape of the tram incident. This is not the first time Hero has disturbed the peace. Established internal strife between those who believe salvation and damnation is above. It's become a generational thing like the 60s. Hero points out that his generation complaints with prefab vault life are irrelevant without water. Now, as we continue, the elders of the vault come into play. And including his father, they're all from pre-war life. So they knew what the world was before nuclear fire rained down on Earth. But soon he tells our hero that there's a problem and that the water purifier chip was broken and that he and a group of people must venture out and to figure out how to obtain a new water chip to ensure the survival of Vault 13. Now, this is where the elder puts the team together. A scout team of members is assembled by the overseer. Number 1, a quirky male technician, Hero's friend from the subway. Number 2, the no-nonsense female vault officer. And number 3, a cocky surface scholar. We established Vault's 13 frame of reference is from pre-war nuclear war in 2003. No one from the Vault has been above ground since. Intel probes show rad level basically livable, and they have infrared readings that some life have survived. After nuclear war, all communications with the other 12 vaults in Southern California was lost. How much of the world has rebuilt itself, if any, is completely unknown, since all so-called vaults are identical in design. Vault 8 is the primary target. It's a 2-day hike and maybe they have an extra water chip. Assuming that all computers are down above ground, the secondary target is the Yellow Pages, known as the nifty pre-war source of info. Now, for those who do not know what Yellow Pages are, basically Yellow Pages is a humongous book full of different numbers and of different places, different like restaurants, police, neighbors, neighborhoods, anything you can possibly think of since back in the day before cell phones were even invented. I think the last time I've ever seen a Yellow Pages was probably 2006, maybe 2007. But ever since then, I've never seen anything else quite like it. Now, as we're going down the pages, it's discussing about their training, their intensive training, and how they're finally being given pre-war firearms and how they're kind of feeling a little unsettling about it, to be honest. And especially our hero proves to be very uncomfortable with pre-war firearms and how he feels like he can't be the leader of what they want him to be. And since he's kind of not feeling up to be that leader, both the female officer and the scholar has put their bid in becoming the leader of this expedition. But the overseer basically warns them that they must work together, or not only will they die, the entire Vault 13 will perish. Which makes a good point, but at the same time, if I were the overseer, I would probably choose the Vault security female over our hero, just because she has that capability of leadership. But again, that's just how it goes in the story. Anyways, as we continue, it says, at home that night, Hero admits to his father he's always dreamed of going above ground. And his father is just very proud of who his son has become and to be picked for this expedition. And as he goes in his room And as he's packing, he finds his marriage kit. Marriages are prearranged based on genetic potential and needs of Vault. Looking at a photo of his intended, his conscience is stirred. He asks his father if he could tell her what's going up so she could get on with her life, but Dad says no. But since he feels obligated to tell her of what's going on since she is going to be his future wife, he actually finds secret passages to get to his intended to give her a secret farewell. And it's clear neither actually loved each other, but they accepted their roles in the Vault. Um, she and he basically they part as good friends and understanding of each other of what's going to happen, and just in case if he doesn't come back that she needs to definitely move on and find somebody to have a family with. And apparently she will conclude in the story a little bit later, very much later. I'm going to say probably towards the end. But anyways, they're now making sure that they have everything that they have for 1 week survival. They have weapons, they got cash. They even, have this thing. I want to say it's kind of like those big backpacks with cords and all this stuff. That's basically like a, what do you want to call it? It's like an iPhone, but connected to a big battery, is what it is. And it's called a video feed to the elders so they can watch what's going on. But at one point in time, they all desired to go above ground, and their dream has finally, come to, but soon it becomes a nightmare and not what they expect. So as the next session comes up, we are now learning that we're near Lancaster, LA, and Techie appears to have found a payphone. Now, for those who don't know what a payphone is where you put in a few cents, like 25 or 30, to make a call, and at the other end, the person needs to either accept the collection call, or if they don't, then the phone call will not go through. But as he reaches for the payphone, he gets a bullet through his head. And the video feed to the elders who were watching, or at least, trying to figure out what the world is like outside, they now don't know what's going on. And at this point in time, the rest of the team is being pinned down by scavengers who have automatic arsenal. And at this point in time, they're trying to debate whether or not they should attack or flee. Ultimately, the hero chooses to flee because their main objective is Vault 8, not to fight, people outside. Well, they finally come upon Vault 8, and they discover it was infiltrated years ago. There are signs of a fierce battle at the entrance. Amidst human remains are terrifying skeletons belonging to some bipedal species, roughly 9 feet tall and 500 pounds. What this is referring to are the super mutants. The Vault security female officer finds a videotape of the massacre by these humanoid monstrosities. And she finds out that they're basically, what do you want to call it? Resistance to bullets. And that's the whole reason why Vault A is basically a ghost town. Our hero chooses to go down Vault 8 because they must find the water chip. But what he finds down there is a corroded water chip. And now he has to figure out what he needs to do in order to make sure that they and the Vault 13 survives. So as we continue, it says here, Hero outwits lethal obstacles course to escape, only to be captured near exit by Mad Max character. Max, who has already caught and bound other two scouts, is impressed with Hero's survival skills. No one's ever made it up back to level 1. Unfortunately, I still gotta kill you for trespassing. So this is where I was telling you that Mad Max will play a role into the story. Um, I don't understand why he's in this. I mean, it's quite interesting that they brought Mad Max into the Fallout universe. Again, Mad Max is the inspiration for Fallout. So I guess I can see where they were coming with this. But then Max notices the insignia on Hero's canteen. They are from Vault 13. Max asks what they are doing here. Hero explains Water Chip Saga. Max offers to get them a new chip in exchange for Vault 13 Gek. Other scouts insist Hero can't make that deal. Each vault only has one Gek, and that is their future. But Hero reasons the future is a luxury they cannot afford right now. It's a deal on my life, he says. So since our team has finally met another character who is Mad Max, Max offers to take them to the hub. And throughout I guess, the rest of the document for a little bit, it just kind of talks about them going through the wasteland and traveling through and seeing what the world is like. There's a scene where it says, "Past a walled village where two-headed boys waves to them. Fallout freaks," Max comments. "Came out of their vault too early. Nothing of value inside there unless you like your steaks with hair on the inside." We finally get to the remains of the scattered LA skyline, which is full of like trees and foliage and whatnot, and which is basically a jungle. Now, we'll get to that a little bit later of why it is, but all you need to know is somebody, we don't know who, took tons of the Geks from different vaults and used them and created this rainforest looking location that's in LA. Now, as we continue, they finally arrived at the hub, which is in Beverly Center. And it says the countdown display out front warns that only 11 acres of rainforest remains. What this is referring to is in the actual Fallout lore, the resource war happened in 2050s. And so a lot of resources such as petroleum, uranium, and oil, trees and whatnot you can think of as resources are being deplenished and being used up because of how many humans there are, and just there's not a lot of it left. But as they're coming to the location, Max warns this person who's basically like a valet and tells him that if he tries to do anything with his ATV, it's going to blow up. Whether if he tries to disarm it or if he tries to change something on it, the only way it can be turned off is by Max's remote. As our team enters with Max, they see different things happening, such as tools, supplies, and even human slaves were being traded. Max warns them, saying this is a very dangerous place and that they should follow his lead and make sure that they spot the exit just in case there's a situation that they need to get out of. It says, meanwhile, all eyes inside Mall focus with conspiracy on the Vault 13 team when they enter. Their Vault 13 canteen signals them as newly hatched chicks. easy marks with rare supplies and pristine genetics. Now, our hero spots one of the scavengers who murdered Teki. They are selling his friend's personal belongings and body organs. And it says, Hero snaps. The horror of this world has finally gotten to him. And with the scholar, Hero attacks scavengers. Because no one has weapons, it turns into a huge brawl. The guys are getting whooped, especially the scholar, causing Max to reluctantly intervene. But the female officer beats him to it, showing her amazing fighting skills in dispatching the scavengers. Well, at this time, they all four of them now are arrested, and this is kind of interesting. They actually brought a character from Fallout 1 who is Decker. It says they are brought before Decker, the mayor of the hub. His office is the last standing movie theater. They have to wait for his favorite scene in Blade Runner to end. Now that would have been a fun future. Clearly, Decker and Max had history. Now, since Decker and our team and Max have all come together, Decker is basically saying, hey, since they're from Vault 13, I'll forgive what happened, and you can trade with me personally, and you don't have to trade with anyone else. And he said that he said it would be wise for you guys just to stay here for tonight, and we can talk business in the morning. However, Hero wants Max to take him to another hub. Unfortunately, there are rumors there are other hubs, but it cannot be confirmed at this point in time. So at this point, Max is basically saying, yeah, I would definitely take you to somewhere else, but, I don't know if that's really true, or this is the only place on Earth that has, people. And even then, Max barely has enough gas to make the trip here and back, meaning to Vault 13. So, anyways, as we're moving on, it says here. Oh, and what I forgot to mention is that Decker said that he would be more than happy to trade the water chip, but in exchange for 2 of their lives. And at this point in time, and this is just before they went to bed, it says, straws in the morning to see who gives themselves up for the good of the vault. Weren't they volunteering their lives when they left the vault? Now, this is the next day, and they're now going into Decker's private club, and just to talk business. And this is where something gets very interesting. And this is kind of something I've been really wanting to read. An ancient self-proclaimed historian approaches our hero, wanting to know all the details of Vault 13. Turns out the historian is writing the definite book on World War III. Vault 13 is the final chapter. Each vault was populated by upper middle class families buying the equivalent of timeshare in the future. Our hero asks how the war started and is shocked to learn that it wasn't China or North Korea or India that fired the first strike. The first nuclear bomb was launched by the creator of the vaults, a businessman who wanted to fulfill his own prophecy of world annihilation. That first bomb triggered a panic chain reaction among other countries, leading to a 4-hour World War III. Now, I'll be honest, I don't really like this section of the document because a couple of things have really altered the Fallout universe, and that is the time it took for the war to begin and end. In canon, it's said that the war lasted for 2 hours, but in this movie adaptation, it said it lasted to 4 hours. Now, what really interested me was the Vault creator being the one who started the war. There has been a lot of speculations that this is how the war started, but never confirmed or, made concrete. And I think if Interplay were to actually had made this movie, then this would be canon. But since it's not, we can still have the ability to, you know, make up what we think of what happened and how the Great War began. And I kind of like that we can make our own thoughts and come up with different theories and whatnot. But if they were to make this movie, that would definitely answer a lot of people's questions of who, when, and why did the Great War start? Because most people don't really know how it started. All we can assume is it was because of the resource war, really. That, from the resource war led up to the Great War. Anyways, moving on, the next few sections are a little, I guess, a little dull. The Vault Tech security guard and Max are in a private room, and she asks him if they could have a little fun because she just doesn't want to die as a virgin. And he complies and said, yes, that's fine. If you're up to that, I am more than happy to do so. And they do so. And, after that, he kind of explains of his backstory a little bit, how he was a Vault Dweller himself from Vault 8, and how he and his father survived the onslaught by the mutant attack, but ultimately his father died in his arms. And with the Gek basically destroyed and stolen by the super mutants, Max is trying to find a way to bring his father's dream to life, because his father has always wanted to give his son Max a better life, and any parent would definitely want to give their kid a better life than they did. And that is kind of a little, sad, but it makes sense of what happens in the next few sections of the document. So the next part is where the mutants actually come into play. It says here, late night raid on hub by mutants break up party at club. All exits are sealed. Word quickly spreads that mutants are looking for pristine humans, meaning our trio. Max urges hero and female officer to flee. Mutants can't be stopped by bullets, but Hero doesn't want to leave missing Scholar behind. Max admires Hero's loyalty but suggests a good leader can make tough decisions for the betterment of the group, and this is one of them. Forget the prick. So basically, they're at the club, and they're mind their own business, and all of a sudden, the mutants raid the club, meaning the hub. And at this time, their friend, the Scholar, is nowhere to be found. It says, moments later, the Scholar finds them, says he found a way out of the hub. Max is skeptical, but they follow into an ambush, where Decker is waiting with the gang of mutants. Turns out Scholar has sold out Hero and female officer, offering them both to Decker in exchange for a couple more water chips and a stockpile of automatic weapons. Scholar's seen the future, and he knows what the Vault needs most. It's clear Decker is in league with the mutants, who are the ones with a real interest in Hero and female. Now our team is kind of in a pickle. They're trying to figure out what the heck has just happened and why they're being portrayed by their comrade. Well, at this point in time, Max actually pulls a gun on female's head and tells mutants that he wants the Gek as well. But here's a problem. Decker actually made the deal with the mutants, and he doesn't want to be cut out of the deal. Well, Max just turns the gun and just shoots him in the heart, killing him. So now it's just between Max and the mutants about what to do with the Vault Dwellers and I guess you can call it the prize, which would be the Gek. We're now moving on to where Max thinks that he holds all the cards. It says, but the mutants want more than the three humans for a Gek. They want the location of the bountiful Vault 13, something Max agrees to give them only when he has the Gek. So now it seems like the mutants want more than just what they have already. And the reason why they want Vault 13 is because in the Fallout lore, the way the super mutants are made is by a virus called the FEV, which converts humans to superhuman mutants in hours. And the reason why they want Vault 13 is to obtain more humans, to add more to their, their kind, the mutants. And the only way that they can is by obtaining the purest humans, because at this point in time, the super mutants are sterile, so they can't make any children of their own, or like by natural means. And so, in order for them to create more super mutants, they have to use humans. And they believe that if they use the humans from vaults, they might be able to change all that so where they can reproduce the natural way and make super mutants from that kind of a way when all the humans are gone and turn into super mutants. So we continue, and it says, our three scouts are made captive in a medical lab holding cell. Scholar rationalizes his traitorous decision as what was right for Vault 13. When mutants come, he volunteers to go first. When tortured, though, he quickly surrenders Vault 13's location. Hero and female watch in horror as Scholar is prepared for dipping in the forced evolution virus by the fearsome Master, the leader of mutants. Turns out the Master could not afford to buy into a vault, so he created the FEV to adapt Fallout survivors like himself to hostile radiation conditions. The formula worked, and superhuman side effects were a pleasant surprise, but we learned that mutants are also sterile and need humans to sustain their numbers. This is why the Master turned the basin into a jungle with stolen Geks. LA is just a cattle field for humans, an inviting oasis amidst the wasteland. The FEV converts humans to super mutants within hours. Master has been testing all sorts of genetic combinations for years. But our hero presents his last chance at creating pure bloodlines to mate as fertile mutants Adam and Eve. A chance to start the perfect master race. Meanwhile, Max is led to a warehouse full of stolen Geks and weaponry and technology scavenged from vaults all over the years, and the Gek that he gets is defective. And we continue, and it says, mutants don't care. They already have Vault 13's location from Scholar. Max takes matters into his own hands and outwits, then kills mutants. Now he has access to their vast storehouse of amazing weapons. While hero and female are led to the FEV dipping vat, Max uses a turbo plasma rifle to infiltrate heavily guarded vat room, rescuing hero and female at the last second. According to Max, this was his plan all along. The FEV vats are destroyed, but the Scholar has already been dipped. Can't be saved. As mutants close in, our heroes help Max blast their way out of this underground using explosives to keep sealing off the tunnels behind them. His empire crumbling around him. The Master tells the Scholar mutant he has a plan. Now, in this tiny little part, they have this, car chase, and ultimately our hero and his team or what's left of his team, and Max survive. And, they head to Vault 13. The mutants, follow them as well, but stop at the edge of the LA basin. Now, continuing here, it says, our heroes finally make it back to Vault 13. Understandably, the hero and female think they are saviors, but when communication is initiated with the Vault Interior, the Overseer rejects their re-entry. Truth is, they have all the water chips they need. This was about purifying their collective consciences. Discontent is contagious. Worst disease known to Vault dwellers. Now, as we continue these couple of last pages, it's an all-out war now. Our trio is basically outside Vault 13 entrance. The Scholar mutant, who was their comrade, has led the Master and an army of dozen mutants back to Vault 13 for an ambush. Trio fends off outside until Heroes Intended starts to open Vault for Heroes Return. The Overseer orders her to stop, but she won't, so he kills her, for the good of the Vault. But the hero's father finishes what the Intended started and let the trio back inside. As we continue, it says, ironically, the social revolution the Overseer sought to keep suppressed in his idyllic Vault now erupts as a desperate battle for survival. With dozens of mutants on attack, most Vault dwellers die, including Hero's father, who dies in Sun's arms, so proud of what he's become. During the battle, the Overseer is destroyed by the Master, who recognizes him as the creator of these vaults, the one who started World War III 50 years ago. As the battle winds down, the hero bravely takes on the superhuman Scholar mutant. Using his knowledge of the vault, the hero leads him into a brutal trap, crushing him beneath the subway car. Meanwhile, Max and the female double team to defeat the Master. When the dust has settled inside the vault, only a handful of humans have survived. Hero honors his deal with Max, even though the Gek now represents Vault 13's best hope for survival above ground. Max offers to let what's left of Vault 13 join him, but Hero doesn't think the survivors are ready for the world above yet. He's not even sure he's ready to go back. Female officer is torn over staying or going, but she decides to stay with her people. As Max leaves Vault with his Gek, the Master is playing possum. It injects Max with the last strain of the FEV. Hero intervenes and kills Master once and for all. But Max will become something awful soon. Max wants Hero to kill him. He'd do it himself, but he can feel that the virus won't let him. Heartbroken, the female won't let Hero do it, but the hero takes charge. This is one of those tough decisions a good leader has to make. Hero won't let Max's death be in vain. Outside the Vault 13 entrance, the female waits with a group of 50 scared survivors, all that's left of the vault. They are packed to travel. From below, we hear a single gunshot. Moments later, our hero emerges with the Gek. He is going to lead this group to find new home. He's going to fulfill Max's dream. In the final montage, we see that the Vault dwellers have settled in a peaceful arroyo where the hero initiates the Gek, turning this little portion of the earth into a lush paradise. The new Eden. Life begins anew. And the final image has our hero and the female, truly the new Adam and Eve, with children now, fishing in a stream, catching a real, live fish. Now, since we've finished this 15-page document of what the Fallout movie was going to be like and how it was going to be put together, I think we can definitely use this information on what the Fallout TV show is going to be like. I know there was a lot of things that changed, like this, how long the war lasted, who started it, and when. I kind of wish that never happened. I wish it was kind of still canon. And even if this did go into production and actually been made, I would have really liked them to keep it lore friendly rather than creating a different story within the Fallout universe. But like I said, we don't really know that much about what's going to happen for the Fallout TV show. But I will say this, and take this with a grain of salt. Whatever it will be, I know for a fact that Bethesda isn't going to screw it up like they did with Fallout 76. Because I know this may be a different department for them, and this may be something new to them. And I know for a fact that they're going to make this an outstanding film, or at least in this case, a TV show, because it's actually being created by people with knowledge of Fallout. Because the document that we read, it was written by somebody who had no idea what Fallout was. And so, with that knowledge of knowing that the people who have, inside knowledge of what Fallout is, this project is going to be outstanding and it's going to be really good. Now, I'm not saying that this TV show is going to be 100% perfect, but what I'm saying is that knowing that this TV show is being created by people with knowledge of the Fallout lore, this is going to be a really good TV show. And at the same time, I am worried about it too because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be, based off of one of the games, or it's going to be a completely new story. We'll just have to see when, more information is released. Anyways, if you would like to look at the document yourself, I will leave the link in the description below. Again, I just want to say thank you so much for listening and, looking over the document with me and just seeing what we may be getting in the TV show. But other than that, thank you so much and hope to see you next time. Thank you.